Live from my channel, it's the Rationalist Yoda 34th Video Extravaganza, starring your favorite well-armed swamp frog, Rationalist Yoda. The man who knows a ton about Civil War history because he was there, Bloodwing. Our favorite furry noob, Brother Bear, with appearances by Bearing, Undoomed, Sargon of Akkad, Armored Skeptic, and Angry Milk Cow. What? Oh, I'm sorry, Angry Mgtow. And now, here's your host, just back from humping my leg, Danny the Dingo.
Damn it, Danny!
Why, hello, everyone. And Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, or whatever holiday you're celebrating right now. Happy Yule, if that's your thing. And welcome to Danny the Dingo's Christmas Cringe Extravaganza. This will also be the fifth installment of our Look into the Minds of Mgtow series, where we take another look at Angry Mgtow. But I'm not doing this one alone. I brought with me some friends. Bloodwing, the grumpy old man who likes to rant from his front lawn. Rationalist Yoda, the wise Jedi Master who likes to rip apart bad arguments. And Brother Bear, pretty much shitlording and cancer incarnate. I hope you enjoy this. This is a very long video, especially for me. And there's going to be no video tomorrow, I'm thinking, because it's Christmas, tomorrow I'm going to be hungover as fuck. So, have a great Christmas, have a great tomorrow, and I'll see you Tuesday.
Angry Mgtow here, and today we're talking about Armored Skeptic. And for those of you that don't know, Armored Skeptic is the other half of Shoanhead, who I discussed in another video. Now, Armored Skeptic claims to be against feminism. However, he has also made videos where he's actually taken a stance for feminism.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's a skeptic. What he does is he takes what is being questioned in a video or what is being given in a video and he retorts it. Now, I don't know if he always retorts it just based upon what he believes or if he is a true skeptic and, argues points whether he agrees with them or not. But he's a skeptic. I mean, he's not a Mgtow. He's not necessarily an anti-feminist. In fact, he's even rejected that label. He's a skeptic. That's what they do.
He believes in the so-called classic definition of feminism and is really just raving against third-wave feminism, when in reality, second-wave feminism is what really got all the craziness started back in the 60s and 70s.
Some Mgtow, some of the craziness. That was the first feminist movement in which there were some radicals, but for the most part, at that time, they were dismissed actively by other feminists.
You see, you remind me of the typical millennials that I see on YouTube and other social media that have only read about these things in a book or seen them on a YouTube video or in a documentary. But I lived through second wave feminism. I lived through civil rights and all those things that you only read about or hear about in some way. And yes, there were some crazies in second wave feminism. Absolutely, there were some crazies. My mom used to have it out constantly with some feminists in the neighborhood that would come down on her because she chose to be a stay-at-home mom. However, the main core of it and the lasting effect of it is that there were wage gaps then, and there was discrimination against women, particularly in the job arena. And the laws that we have now are a direct effect of that. Anything that promotes equality, not one group over the other, but equality, regardless of whether it's between men and women or whatever, is a good thing, dude. Now, I know you're not going to agree because I've watched your other videos, but trust me on this.
I don't think I could say it much better myself. I know you are in the He-Man Woman Haters Club there. I agree, Mgtow, but the only way any of your points makes a bit of sense is if you truly believe that women are some sort of subspecies or some sort of different type of human, which is sick.
It's frustrating even having to discuss people like this guy because, I mean, his behavior is atrocious. The things that he has said about men is just downright ridiculous. In most of his videos, he is literally simping to women, literally begging to gain their validation.
Excuse me, Cousin BW, but I gotta ask a question. Is this idiot for real?
Yes, Melvin, I'm afraid he is for real. I used to think he was just trolling us or clickbaiting, but I think his tinfoil hat really is on too tight. Are you even watching the same Armored Skeptic I'm watching, dude? Because I have never, ever, ever seen him do that, and I've watched all of his videos, his entire library, ever.
These men cannot be trusted. They are infiltrators. They are tools of the enemy that come into male spaces and say, hey, don't be like that. Don't be like that.
Citation, please.
The only man here that cannot be trusted sounds like you, because since this video started, the only thing that you said has been a complete and utter bullshit.
In the end, a guy like him is going to end up getting screwed over, by the way, because at some point, she's going to get tired of him. Shoe One Head is going to get tired of him. She's going to dump him, and then she's going to move on to the next simp.
No, guys, I think Mgtow had his heart broken, or maybe he just can't get laid. I don't know, but there's something going on there. I think women don't like him.
Well, women don't like me neither. What I think is more interesting is how this guy has got this couple on the internet's entire relationship figured out on the basis of a couple of opinions that they have on the internet. He has apparently figured out what goes on behind closed doors with them, all the trials and tribulations that every relationship has. I think it's a stalker.
Angry Mgtow, it sounds like you've gone through some personal ordeals. Do you want to talk about it? Your brother's here for you.
And it is quite sad, it's quite pathetic, but this is a society we currently live in where guys like this guy, like Armored Skeptic, are going to be observed by others and think, oh, this is how you behave, this is how you get a woman. No, that's not how you get a woman. Trust me, you don't want one in the first place. They're not all that great.
On second thought, Danny, I think you're onto something. You know, it's amazing how we just lump them all into one big giant group. All women, exactly the same. You don't want one, because once you've had one, you've had them all. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all. Once you've been with one, you've been with them all. Good God.
Yoda, I kind of agree with you on that one. I honestly believe that this guy's got some problems, and he needs to go to some kind of therapist, because I've been with a few bad girls and a few good ones, and they're not all the same, Angry Mgtow. None of them are all the same. So once again, if you need to talk, I'm here for you. Your little brother's here.
Okay, their vaginas have this funny smell, and
I read somewhere that their periods attract bears. The bears can smell the menstruation.
What the hell is this about bears being able to smell menstruations? You fucking kidding me? Who even... Listen. Every vagina smells I can't even say this with a straight face. Every vagina has its own unique smell. So I don't know if you just had a girlfriend that didn't know how to wash her pussy real well, or if you just smelled some ass, because what you're saying, again, it's just bullshit.
And you can get a disease from them sometimes. Trust me, girls aren't all that great. They're not all that they're cracked up to be. All right? Most guys should just stay away from them, but a lot of guys just won't learn that women are toxic.
Bears.
That you should stay away from women.
Yep, he was totally rejected in the middle of the act. I'm calling it right now. He was about to have sex with a girl, and she would decided afterwards, she's like, nah, I can't do this. No. Oh my god, dude, really? Really? Maybe it's just because I have a very loving girlfriend, but I can't for the life of me figure out what the appeal with this Mgtow bullshit is.
He's a virgin, ain't he?
Most likely, Melvin. He sure sounds like one, don't he? Hey, Angry, try sleeping with a woman that cleans herself up. Maybe you won't have to worry too much about that smell. And diseases? Hey, you can get those from men, too. Just ask all the homosexuals out there why they have to use protection, huh? Jeez, oh Pete.
Danny, Bloodwing, I feel really, really, really bad for Angry Mgtow, and I think it is our job, well, maybe not our job, but I think we should feel just a teeny tiny bit obligated to try and get this guy fucking laid, because honestly, the amount of bad experiences he's probably had in his life is what turned him into this Angry Mgtow that we now know today.
We currently don't know the status of Shuan Head, if she is HIV positive or even if she has full-blown AIDS.
Whoa. Let's back that truck up a little bit. Do you have even a shred of evidence to even make a suggestion like that?
Yoda, you and I both know he has no evidence to even come up with a claim for that. But somewhere in his head, he's thinking, oh, women have HIV, so, maybe Shuan Head also has HIV because, hey, she's a woman. So I bet that's where he's getting it from.
Jesus.
I'm not saying she's HIV positive or that she has full-blown AIDS, but it has been something that is being discussed in the community and on YouTube if she potentially is HIV positive and has full-blown AIDS.
See, now this is where you really go off the deep end. Yes, you are trying to say it because you did say it. It's called poisoning the well, you idiot. Hey, I can play that game too. What about you? How do we know you don't have AIDS? Maybe you got it from your right hand.
Senator, when did you stop beating your wife?
Where in the community has anyone been asking if Shuan Head has HIV or AIDS? I have seen a lot of Shuan Head's videos. I have read the comments at the bottom of her videos. No one's talking about this bullshit. So, what the fuck are you talking about?
Guys like him are only bringing men into sadness and pain with the foolish messages that they're putting out on YouTube, and YouTube gives people like him a platform to spread his nonsense. A platform to spread what I would call hatred.
I love how he says YouTube gives him a platform. Kind of like they just wheeled the truck up. Here's a platform for you. Here's a mic. Here's everything you need. We understand you're a really big women hater. That's our kind of guy. Get your ass onto YouTube. You're our kind of fella.
It's funny you say that because it sounds like you're talking about yourself. Just a teeny tiny bit. It sounds like you're fucking talking about yourself.
I would honestly say that Armored Skeptic is spreading hatred.
Wait, I don't agree with everything Skeptic has to say either, but did Mgtow just advocate for no platforming?
Angry Mgtow here, and today we're talking about Bearing. Bearing is a prominent anti-feminist on YouTube, and he typically tries to debunk feminist bullshit. From things ranging to women crying about emotional trauma, such as the woman who complained over the guy who said his name was humongous, to debunking the other feminist crap that also includes just feminists saying dumb things, or how feminists have lost the plot entirely. And that kind of really encompasses why I'm gonna say that Beering is a feminist himself.
Dan, I completely agree. How the hell do you get from anti-feminist to being a feminist because of the fact that you are against feminism? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
You see, he points out feminists have lost the plot. Feminists have finally lost the plot. Well, and he was referring to the Young Turks, but...
Yes, he was referring to the Young Turks, but you're going to apply it here anyway just to fit your narrative, aren't you?
Here's the thing. Feminism was always full of shit. First wave feminism gave women the right to vote. Some would say, well, they deserve the right to vote. They're half the population.
Holy crap! Mgtow can do math.
Well, they're half the population, but men were given the right to vote simply because there was this thing called the Civil War, and a bunch of guys died in that.
You sound like my 6-year-old grandson trying to explain the Civil War. A thing called the Civil War? A bunch of guys died in that? Wow.
And even before that, we had a bunch of other wars too. And a lot of guys died in those wars also. And the women were typically insulated from wars. We didn't go around killing the women. Women and children were fine. It was the men that went out onto the battlefield and lost their lives. And after that happened, men were given the right to vote.
Women were fine, huh? I want you to look up Hessians during the American Revolutionary War. Hessians. And learn about an atrocity or two, would you?
Hey, Danny, allow me to step in here on this one. See, not only am I an old fart and I've lived through a lot of stuff that he hasn't, I'm also a huge history buff. And guess what the favorite area of study of history for me is? You got it, the American Civil War. And I can tell you this, dude, you are full of crap. There has never, ever, ever in history been a war in the United States or anywhere else in the world that did not kill innocent women and children. It's a fact. It happens. And particularly in the Civil War, it's estimated that at least 50,000 civilians lost their lives during that war, and might be as high as 300,000. It's hard to get a hard statistic on it because they just weren't kept. Women and children were raped just as in any other war and were killed and abused. I don't know where you learned your history at, but it sure wasn't out of a history book of any sort that I've seen. Also, did you know this, that at least 250 women on both sides of the conflict disguised themselves as men and fought as a soldier? And they could get away with it because there were so many young boys that weren't even old enough to shave yet that were brought into the war. So they didn't give them a second look. I would imagine you probably fall in that group of not being able to shave, huh? And not only that, but later into the war, the Pentagon actually came out and said, hey, women can fight. That's right, they allowed women to fight. Women fought in the Civil War. And it wasn't uncommon in those days for women and children to follow their men out onto the battlefield. Now that doesn't make any sense to us today, but that is what they did. They'd make a home in the tent, in the camps. There were many of them. It was very common. And yes, they also got killed. Boy, you're just all kinds of an idiot, aren't you?
But, there were women that could vote prior to the suffrage movement. Those women being women who owned land. Women who owned land could vote no problem. In fact, prior to the Civil War, if you were a woman that owned land, you could vote. It had nothing to do with men, it had nothing to do with the draft, it had to do with whether or not you owned land. And then because men fought in wars, they were given the universal right to vote. However, you're tackling this the wrong way, I think. See, I don't think we should take away women's right to vote. What I think is either A, we make them sign up for the draft, which I believe that's actually going through Congress right now, or we get rid of the draft entirely. That's how I would solve that problem.
Because all men have to register for the draft, and because we all are required to put our lives on the line, then we should have a say in the direction of how the country operates.
Boy, you just don't history much, do you? The right to vote for white men that did not own property actually began in 1792 in Kentucky and ended in 1856 with North Carolina being the last one to pass it. That's before the Civil War. What you're talking about after the Civil War is in 1870, non-white men and freed slaves were granted the right to vote. Had nothing to do with the service in the military, had nothing to do with signing up for the draft, it had nothing to do with any of that garbage. Your history is all wrong, man. Read a book.
Give him the knowledge, old man. Give him the shit. Make sure he learn. Give him the education. Give him the learning. Just give him. Just give it. Just give it.
Are you kidding me? It's absolutely ridiculous.
You know what's ridiculous? Is everything you said up to now. I cannot even. I honestly can't. You need to go somewhere. You just need to go fuck yourself.
But guys like Bering don't dispute these things. Guys like Bering essentially support first wave and second wave feminism. First wave feminism that gave women the right to vote without requiring them to actually sign up for the draft. Second wave feminism that essentially said, well, we want equality, but it equated equality as equal opportunity and equal representation are the same thing, which they are not. Which they absolutely are not. And for this reason, Bering is a feminist, because he's only complaining about modern day feminism.
I've already debunked your analogy of the first wave feminism, so I'll not go there again. And I've already debunked partially the second wave feminism, but I'll touch on that just a little bit. It wasn't about giving them more rights than us, at least not with the majority of the movement. And I've heard Bering speak out on numerous occasions that equality of opportunity does not equal equality of outcome, which is how I prefer to say it rather than the way you're doing it, but it's the same thing. Jeez, you don't even listen to their videos, do you? You admit it.
Yeah, equal opportunity and equal representation aren't the same thing. But why are one less desirable than the other? Oh, they really don't have anything to do with each other. Equal opportunity is about being able to do whatever you want to in life if you can cut the mustard. And equal representation is about getting represented in your government the same or getting the same votes as anybody else. I'm unclear on why you think women don't deserve an equal opportunity or equal representation unless you think they're not humans, which is really disgusting because nobody can choose how they were born and nobody can choose their physical traits. You are what you are born to be, and to hold it against somebody for the simple act of existing, coming into life, makes you just a fucking piece of human debris.
The mean feminism, the feminism that says men are evil and that demonizes even male feminists.
Can I just point out that you're trying to prove a case using American law while debating an Australian person? Just a thought.
I read somewhere that their periods attract bears. The bears can smell the menstruation.
Why? Why with the bears? No, we cannot. No, we cannot.
Angry Mgtow here, and Malo Yiannopoulos is a feminist.
Well, now that's a bold fucking claim.
Feminism is cancer. Thank you very much.
I don't know, Danny. I think he's got an airtight case here.
Dan, Yoda, I think that Angry Mgtow is completely correct. He's absolutely right. Nothing's wrong with what he said. Everything that Milo Yiannopoulos has ever said about feminism is completely false, and he's just a closeted feminist. I believe it. All hail Angry Mgtow.
Let's talk about male circumcision really quickly. If we go back to a 2015 article, Milo wrote an article titled, "No one wants to live in a world of uncircumcised penises."
Milo is a gay man who prefers uncut schlong. Women really don't figure into this in any way. Even feminism doesn't really figure into it in any way, shape, manner, or form. It's just a preference he likes.
He follows up in the article, "Your penis is not a perfect special snowflake. There are objective standards of beauty for men, just as there are for women, for the edification and enjoyment of your female partners, not to mention the quality of oral sex you'll get throughout your life. You should get circumcised, and you should do it to your newborn sons too, as early as into their lives as possible."
Well, I mean, I don't particularly like that he said that, but how the fuck does that make him a feminist?
Now, that's just one reason why Milo Yiannopoulos is a male feminist. But don't take my word for it, take his. In a Daily Dot article published in 2016, August of this year, Milo Yiannopoulos calls himself a feminist, blames feminism for his Twitter ban. Milo Yiannopoulos has actually made it very clear countless times that he is indeed a feminist in the traditional sense of the word. He supports both first and second wave feminism. What he is against is third wave feminism, and he's actually said this on college campuses.
The way I look at it, to be a feminist nowadays, you have to believe in the modern beliefs of feminism. So personally, I wouldn't say he's a feminist. I don't think he's right. I don't think he's a feminist.
I've already debunked your arguments against first and second wave feminism, so I'll not go there, because Milo's right. You're no true Scotsman fallacy that you keep throwing out there, that if you're not against first and second wave feminism, which are movements that are over, by the way, they're extinct, it's getting pretty old. Maybe you can parrot something else for a while?
Yeah, I understand that there was first and second wave and third wave feminism, and they're kind of different. They wanted different things. And some of the things were reasonable, and some of them were not. But as far as I could tell, just by the fact that they were born women, all things that they might want are unreasonable.
But people don't listen to this at all. Milo Yiannopoulos is also, let's not forget that he is also homosexual.
Well, I may not be the sharpest pencil in the box, but I would have thought that with his positions, then he'd be happy about the fact that Milo's gay.
Yeah, Mel, I suppose that you're right. At least he's not going to be going out and sleeping with the evil women's and getting their cooties and bringing them back to everybody.
Bears.
And you have to think about the characteristics here. It's a type of hypergamy where he's looking for the strongest male to protect himself with.
What? This dude is out there in the front lines getting attacked, getting people rushing his stage and trying to attack him. And he's standing his ground. Who is he getting to protect him exactly? As far as I can tell on these college tours, he's mostly all alone.
Yoda, at this point in his head, he's probably thinking, why even do any research? Why should I? My sheep followers will listen to whatever the fuck I say anyways without doing any research themselves. So why should I care what the fuck I say? Anything that comes out of my mouth is gold to my viewers. So why does it matter?
And he looks at the he looks at the left and he sees them completely crumbling and letting barbarians run free. So he goes and aligns himself to the right in a space called the alt-right, where pretty much all the loons run around that don't want to be on the left.
I'm telling you, Dan, I understand. Your brother's here. Pat, pat.
I know that the things I say are not always popular.
Not only are the things you say unpopular, but they're also a lot of bullshit.
I know that the things I say are not always popular, but think about it rationally. It's still important that I have the right to say them, as it is important that everyone has the right to make their points, and no one should be collective thinkers. Collective thinking is what gets us into trouble.
So you all go out there and be individuals, except for all you crazy, toxic, bear-attracting women. You're all the same.
This coming from the same guy who advocated for no platforming Armored Skeptic earlier in this video. Again, I don't agree with everything that you say, and I don't agree with everything that Armored Skeptic says. But if either one of you had your voice, your right to speak, taken away, I would still advocate on your behalf to say what you want to say.
You know what? Collective thinking is what gets us in trouble. I agree with you. But yet here you are trying to no platform every big anti-feminism or anti-SJW YouTuber on the internet, and trying to get all your little screwball followers into a big groupthink with you. You think that everybody that doesn't think like you and put down all the things that you do are wrong, and they're all evil feminists. Wow, the cognitive dissonance is just incredible.
Angry Mgtow here, and today we're talking about Sargon of Akkad. Sargon of Akkad is a male feminist, and I know some of you are going to say, Angry, you really just keep losing it these days. Listen, he is a male feminist, and I'm going to tell you how I can prove that he's a male feminist.
Yes, you are really losing it, and prove it like you've proved all the others with speculation, unfounded suggestions, and no facts, just your think-sos? Is that how you're going to prove it? You can't wait.
Sure, Sargon has debunked bullshit over the years. But at the end of the day, even though he doesn't necessarily assign himself to the most radicalized views of feminism, it does not mean that he does not support traditional marriage arrangements. It doesn't mean that he's not a tradcon.
Wait, so let me see if let me see if I'm understanding you right here. Sargon is a male feminist because he's not a Mgtow? I have this image now of you sitting at your computer, like all like fucking coked out looking around, eyes moving around the room like, there are fucking feminists everywhere, man. They're fucking everywhere.
Sargon of Akkad is a traditionalist. He does believe in marriage. He does believe in men remaining on the plantation. He never debunks anything such as that.
I'm a married man, and am I to understand that you are comparing being married to slavery? Agreed.
Sure, he'll...
No, I'm kidding. Please don't tell my wife. Look, come on. Two people voluntarily are coming together in an arrangement out of love and mutual respect. You comparing that to slavery? You really are a fucking nightmare. No women will have you. Can't imagine why.
Sure, he'll focus on bullshit such as the gender wage gap, or the nonsense with Black Lives Matters, or a lot of the other crap that goes on. But at the end of the day, he is still a traditionalist. He is still focused on getting men to stay on that plantation and give their resources to women. He never actually talks about how bad of a deal marriage is for men.
You do realize, don't you, that Carl, Sargon of Akkad, has a wife and kid? Of course he's not against marriage. Are you saying that you have to be against marriage or you're a feminist? Because that's just utter and total bullcrap. I'm married, been married for 34 years, and I know people that haven't been married. It's a life choice. But one way or the other doesn't make you a feminist. Man.
Real problems that are happening in the lives of men. He's not talking about, hey guys, listen, marriage is dangerous, relationships are dangerous. He's not really focused on false rape statistics. He's not really focused on, the number of men that are committing suicide and how high that rate truly is, and the fact that there's a correlation between feminism and all of that, and even marriage.
Again with the marriage thing. I get it, you're against marriage, probably because nobody would have your little fat, pimply butt. But as far as the other things, the wage gap, male suicide rate, I have absolutely heard Carl touch on numerous occasions. Again, I ask you, do you even watch these people's videos?
They say that married men live longer. But honestly, I believe that that's a generational thing. There's no way that modern men, millennials, live longer being with a woman, because so many of those marriages are going to end in divorce, so they're not factoring those statistics. And
yes, they are. Dumb fuck. Of course they are. Look, if you're to say that if married men live longer, then you have to have a basis of comparison to what they live longer than, which would be the divorced men or the single men. Men who are not married. And when you take those two things into account, you find that the married men live longer because they're still married. You don't just lump in the divorce with the married and then call it an average. How do you know which ones were which? Oh, God.
And what marriages that do remain, you have to think about arrangement and what would make a hypergamous woman stay with that man.
You start out by stating the fact that married people live longer, married men, but yet then you try to debunk it by saying you think, you feel. Are you a doctor? Do you have a medical degree? Do you have a biology degree? Do you have any kind of degree in the field at all, other than just your feels? I'm losing so many brain cells doing this. You owe me, Danny.
Meaning that's her best option. Women by nature are hypergamous. They are not monogamous. They do not want to be in a relationship with one person. They want to have litters of children with different men. They love to diversify genes. That's what women do. They have nothing but animal-based instincts. And I've said it before that women are a subspecies of man.
Called it.
They are not men.
I don't know. I'm no biologist or scientist of any sort by any way, but every time I've heard that, it's been the other way around. That it's the men that have the roaming eye, genetically, that seek out different partners, not the women, genetically speaking. And you're really going to call them a subspecies of men? You just went in a lower form of stupidity than I even thought you were capable of. Oh.
And that's something that Sargon would never touch on. He wouldn't want to say something like that. He wouldn't want to explore something along those lines because he would call it taboo.
No, he'd call it lunacy. He doesn't explore something like that because it makes no sense. It's from a crazy person.
No, Mgtow. Actually, what I think he would say, and I'm going to channel my best inner Sargon here, when I think he would respond to that comment by saying, "That is fucking stupid."
Angry Mgtow here, and today we're talking about Undoomed. Undoomed is a member in the anti-feminist community who dispels feminist myths and other bullshit. Now, here's something that people will potentially scrutinize. When I say that Undoomed is a male feminist.
Hey, moron! Fucking moron! There's a reason it's fucking scrutinized.
So you're gonna ask, Undoomed? All he does is call out feminist bullshit. You're right. And you're wrong. You see, what he calls out is third wave feminism. Not second wave feminism, not first wave feminism.
Nobody calls out first and second wave feminism. Nobody has a problem with them. It's the third wave feminists that are overreaching. So we deal with what's in front of us right now. Fucking lunatic.
He doesn't call out the kind of feminism that strive for equal representation for women. Undoomed never really comes to the conclusion that equal opportunity should not equal representation. That's something that he never really puts any emphasis on.
You realize that with all these people you're talking about, when you mention that they touch upon things like the wage gap, they are mentioning that equal representation is not the same thing as equal opportunity. The same as when they talk about things like people complaining that, you know, there aren't more women in the STEM field, there aren't more women in the 1%. They constantly point out that it's not due to a lack of opportunity, it's due to the fact that they don't take advantage of those opportunities, and thus then complain that they don't get an equal result.
In fact, in one of his videos where he discusses Mgtow versus a voice for men, he actually points out that first wave and second wave feminism, the first wave that got women the right to vote, the second wave that got women equal representation, those were good, those were necessary. It's just third wave that's a problem. This is where things are completely incorrect.
Well, that poor Scotsman you've been pushing her around through this whole thing is going to get tired of it and turn around and jab slap you one here in a minute. I've already debunked your idea on first wave. I've already debunked your ideas on second wave. But I'll say it again. First wave done his job, it's over. No sense crying about it now. Second wave feminism done its job, it's over. No sense crying about it now. Third wave feminism is what we have in front of us today. It's what we have to deal with. But the bright side is, I think I heard that your ride outside beat for you. You know, the one back to the crazy house.
And now in modern society, if you look at the UN's report that came out, I believe it was last year, they state that women need equity, not equality. In other words, for women to achieve economic equality to men, in other words, make the same amounts as men, they need more time off, more paid time off, and better access to childcare. Think about that very carefully. In other words, women need more paid time off than men. So in other words, you're going to pay women when they're not at work, when they're not working, because women work less than men. So instead of saying women need to work more to equal the same earnings as men, no, we need to pay women for the time that they do not work.
Right, but again, he speaks on all these quote-unquote wage gap solutions. I've watched videos where he's responded to stuff like this.
I know you probably already went there, Denny, but I just can't help myself. Hey, Undoomed buddy, what you got to say about this?
Hey, moron! Fucking moron!
Yeah, I thought you would. What difference does it make if he goes into first or second wave feminism? It's the past. It makes no difference about what's in front of us now. None whatsoever.
You can't be a CNA and then complain that women in the medical field make this much less than men. No, that's not correct. There's a big difference between a doctor and a CNA. There's a big difference between a doctor and a nurse. There is still quite a moderate and substantial difference between a doctor and a nurse practitioner. They are still not the same.
I don't actually disagree with you here, but neither does Undoomed. How exactly does that make him a male feminist?
You're right, Mgtow. They aren't. But that's not what second wave feminism was about. Second wave feminism was because women doctors were getting paid less than male doctors. Woman surgeons were getting paid less than male surgeons. But you're going to leave that part out and just focus on the part that actually has more to do with third wave feminism than it has to do with second wave. Fuck you and all your fucking Mgtow buddies. Jesus fuck.
He's crying about wah 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 wah. Modern feminism is nasty. Wah 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 wah. Modern feminism discriminates against men. How did it get there? You don't think critically about how it got there. You don't look at first and second wave feminism. You are a feminist, Undoomed.
So first we invented fire. Then we found that we could use fire with gasoline and internal combustion engines. Now my car is wrecked. I'm blaming the discovery of fire.
Danny, I don't know how to tell you this, but Cousin BW, he ran off screaming a minute ago after watching this last clip, and he said something about drinking some bleach, 'cause he was tired of repeating himself. I hope he's okay.
Well, Melvin, I mean, to be honest, buddy, I wish I could pick up the bottle too. But I don't have thumbs.
This is an awful thing to make me do before Christmas, Danny. Really hate you.
Okay, and that is it. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching this Christmas extravaganza. I actually didn't think this was going to be for Christmas because I didn't think this was going to be done before Christmas. But we put our heads together, we worked our little tails off, and I think we did a good job. So make sure you go and subscribe to Rationalist Yoda, Brother Bear, and Bloodwing if you liked what you saw here. The links will be in the description. And I don't know if they're going to post this on their channel. I hope they do. But nonetheless, thanks for watching. See you next time. Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like my videos and you'd like to support me, I have a Patreon. It's linked at the end of just about every one of my videos. I think some of my earliest videos don't have it, but all of my new videos will have a link to my Patreon at the end of the video. So if you want to support me, there it is. So yeah, but thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share my video, both with your friends and other content creators that you might want me to work with. Thank you. Have a great day.